When people start getting all nostalgic about their childhood, the first thing they like to do is talk about the shows that they grew up with. You know, the ones that were appointment television. Shows who had catchphrases that were so popular that you're still using them. Shows that not only did you have to watch, but you had to also own every piece of merchandise from. When I was a kid, my love affair was with the real Ghostbusters. Look at that happy kid getting the firehouse. But then when you dig a little deeper into your memories, you start thinking about those shows that you kind of have a faint memory of, but it would be hard to look up because you don't even remember what the name of that show was. Now, me being a 90s kid raised on Nickelodeon, that show for me happened to air, I don't know, like 7 a.m. on a Saturday.
Coming up, it's Land of the Lost, followed by Steven Spielberg presents Tiny Toon Adventures, only on Nick.
Almost punishing you for waking up that early on a non-school day. When people start talking about their favorite 90s Nickelodeon shows, I'd say, remember that show? And they'd say, can we talk about Kenan and Kel again?
Is it true? With back-to-back Kenan and Kel.
Heck, I heard more people talk about space cases than this show.
But will they ever get home? Or are they forever destined to be space cases?
Some people even older than me will talk about some show called 15 that used to be on Nickelodeon.
Nick's high school saga continues with all new episodes of 15 every Sunday at 5:30, 4:30 Central.
But that doesn't even sound like a real show to me. So in this memory I have, a family is driving their vehicle and gets sucked into the land where they live with dinosaurs. So that's when you go to your old friend Google and type in family, teleport, new world, dinosaurs. And what do I find? It's a 1970s show called Land of the Lost.
The Land of the Lost.
But from my memory, this did not look like a 70s show. So that's wrong? There's nothing on the 90s Nickelodeon page about the 70s Land of the Lost. That's because it's actually a revival that they made in the early 90s.
It's another dimension where dinos are boss. For this world of wonder, watch Land of the Lost.
But it wasn't a Nickelodeon show.
Must be ABC.
It actually aired on ABC Saturday morning. But they must have thought that Land of the Lost was going to be a big hit. They even got the Family Matters cast and Step by Steps cast to help promote it.
It's Land of the Lost. Oh, hey, that sounds familiar. It should. It's your hometown.
Yeah, they brought the big guns in Urkel and Carl Winslow to talk about how great this show was going to be.
Well, but that Tyrannosaurus Rex scared me to death.
Me too. I'm sorry I jumped in your lap, big guy.
It's okay.
And I think they really believed it because they also put out a major toy line by Tiger.
Land of the Lost action figures from Tiger.
Back in the 90s, toy commercials seemed to be able to build a set to show off play sets for toys. But they were even able to pull off the look of the Land of the Lost. Someday I'm going to have to get into a discussion about these toy commercials.
I've got you now, human.
Oh, no, you don't.
If you'd never heard of Land of the Lost before, the commercial describes the plot of the show in pretty accurate detail.
They're trapped. Annie, Krista, Tasha, and Kevin are being chased by Shung.
He's still behind us.
The commercial's like the perfect elevator pitch on why you should watch Land of the Lost.
A great beast has entered the Land of the Lost. And he's chasing Tasha.
The Porter family and their friends do have to fight off Sleestaks and dinosaurs.
But here comes Scarface. And Tasha's ready for it.
And dinosaurs on the show don't discriminate. They will attack Sleestaks.
No!
And the show would go on to introduce a Cyclops demon. And yes, Cyclops demons will also eat the Sleestaks.
Yuck, that beast will eat anything.
New from Tiger.
But Tiger didn't stop there. They also made an LCD handheld game for the show that starred Tasha the dinosaur. And like any other Tiger electronic game, it's not very fun. And hey, don't want to feel lonely and have $100 to spend? Tiger also made a stuffed Stink the Monkey that talks. They also had a toy line made by Just Toys Bendham's.
We now return to Land of the Lost.
So I was curious and decided maybe I should give this show another chance. And when I started that first episode, it immediately hit me what it was that made me remember this show.
It's the nerdiest TV show.
It's the show's amazing opening. It immediately describes the plot of the show, why the Porter family was able to have all the necessities needed to live in this new world, and what it was that sucked them into this new world. Also making me forever fearful of running into a sinkhole. And the theme song, well, that's like a sleeper hit in the competition of best theme song of all time. They waste no time in telling you about all the hazards of this new world. But you're also told who in this new world is a friend of the Porter family. The guy is like the most passionate singer I've ever heard. And I love how the dinosaurs' roar is synced up in the theme song. It's almost like the dinosaurs saying, "Hell yeah, you found a dinosaur! I'm the dinosaur!" And as the opener ends, we're introduced to the Porter family. This is a pretty great theme song, but it could use a rap remix.
I'm in charge. Yes, I am. I'm the coolest leader in all the land.
You know how well that worked out for Garfield and Friends.
Sticking with the fact we can take you on back. He's so fat, and he loves a lasagna.
So don't push me around or get in my way, or you'll be grounded for the rest of the day.
Oh wait, never mind. If that's the rapper, I want nothing to do with the rap remix. While watching this show, I started thinking, what show is kind of similar to this? Concept-wise, interaction-wise. And the closest thing I could think of was Gilligan's Island. On the pilot episode of Gilligan's Island, when the boat leaves everyone stranded, they have to go and build the huts. Well, Land of the Lost, we already have the Porter family living in their tree home. They don't waste time explaining how Tom built all this and where they found all the necessary equipment needed to do the job. They even seem to have electricity. So it doesn't really seem like the Porter family is struggling to live in this new world. They're not living comfortably, but they're not in like dire straits. Then you start thinking, wait, shouldn't they be in dire straits? How is any of this possible right now? What are they eating? How much stuff did they bring with them on that vacation that they were supposed to have? That's when you have to take the advice of Mystery Science Theater's theme song.
Repeat to yourself, it's just the show. I should really just relax.
Our pilot begins not with the Porter family, but instead with a dinosaur mother protecting her eggs from an oncoming Tyrannosaurus Rex. Well, T-Rex, he kills the mama, kills the mama. So now we meet the Porter family. Dad Tom, who's a widower and a former workaholic. Him being a workaholic was a source of friction between him and his wife. They even had an argument the morning that she passed away. That trip that you saw in the opening, that was actually a healing trip so that Tom could bond with his kids after that tragedy. Then we have the teenage son, Kevin.
It's cool, Krista.
Kevin's from California, and he also has that late 80s, early 90s swagger that Zach Morris had.
You're in charge. You're such a Wilbur.
Wow.
And also says cool 90s slang.
Dude, this is really donkey time.
Kevin? He's going through puberty.
I think it's called being 16.
He's a self-centered bum. But don't call him a nerd. Even back in his world, he spent a lot of his free time vlogging the way that you would in the 80s. Finally, we have little sister Annie, whose personality is sitcom little sister. Throughout the show, I felt like the Porter family started getting a little blasé about the whole idea of living on a planet with dinosaurs. It was almost like they were too cool to even react anymore. But the family does stay alert for T-Rex.
Oh my gosh!
Pretty cool, huh?
Because if the family was to make too much noise, T-Rex would find them, and, well, it did find them. It found Dad. And that was our last episode.
Dad! Where are you?
Dad!
No, I'm kidding. Apparently the dad is a master electrician and even built a shock trap to shock T-Rex when he got too close. T-Rex has this look on his face like, how can this happen to me? But what we learned in that pilot is not all dinosaurs are bad. You know the egg that I was talking about in the very beginning of the episode? Well, Kevin and Annie stumble across that egg.
Kevin, here's what he missed.
You might recognize this as a Tyrannosaurus Rex egg.
Kevin goes full Chappelle Show mode and wants to make a dinosaur omelet.
How do I want my omelet in the morning? Besides big.
You lay one finger on this, Kevin, and you'll be sucking your breakfast through a straw.
Woo-wee, that smells wild.
Annie wants to let the egg hatch. Congratulations, you just gave birth to the show's comedic relief. And it's hideous. But also adorable?
That baby dinosaur was so cute. As cute as moi. Well, I have to admit there is a strong resemblance.
Adorable as long as you're not waking up in the middle of the night to see it doing its Gene Simmons impression next to you. Remember earlier when I said that I was addicted to real Ghostbusters? You know when that show Slimer took over the bulk of the storylines and became an almost mascot for the Ghostbusters? Well, on this show, Tasha's the pet/mascot for the Porter family and tends to take over the storylines.
She's still Thunder Lizard.
And provide a good amount of comic relief. You know, when Tasha talks, it even kind of sounds like Slimer. A good amount of the show's plot lines seem to revolve around Tasha getting caught. Or being under attack. And other ones tending to be about misunderstandings caused by her.
She's still a baby. What do you say, Tosh? We're willing to give it one more shot if you are. Huh?
Or the fact that she's kind of a wild animal and not really a pet.
Tasha, you have to stay. You can't come. Tasha, no!
Which is something that could probably easily get lost on you as a viewer, considering half the time she's treated like the family dog. Okay, I thought I was making an original connection, since through my research I hadn't seen his name pop up until now. Tasha has an appetite even Slimer the Ghost would envy. Then there was one episode where a sorceress came around and granted Tasha the ability to talk. Tasha having the ability to talk is terrifying.
Boys! I want to talk about boys! Boys.
Why is it terrifying? Because Tasha sounds like Elmo.
Oh, she's a witch.
And sings like Elmo.
Chill, Tasha.
And acts like Elmo.
I hate baths. Unless it's a bubble bath. Yeah.
No wonder Kevin spends most of his time annoyed by Tasha.
Yo, Kev, what's up? Wow! That's really funny.
Though, when I continued watching the show, Kevin kind of gets annoyed by everything.
So just back off.
Hormones, am I right? Kevin is able to find himself a best friend in Stink, the monkey.
Stink, too cool.
Looking bad, Stinker.
Stink is another character that the Porter family meet and befriend.
Don't be afraid. We want to be your friend.
Though initially, it didn't look like Stink was interested in becoming their friend. In fact, it looked like he was going to monkey murder them. But instead, he uses his monkey strength to fight off potential threats. So Stink became a friend of the Porter family. And now he's able to barge into their house like he's a monkey Kramer.
Stink here too.
Stink is able to communicate in broken English.
This way. This way.
And sorta has a grasp on basic human interaction. You could say that Stink's been 90s radicalized. Stink understands humans because he's a monkey boy hybrid, according to Just Toys. What's Stink like? Well, Curious George come to life. Stink, like Tasha, is part of the show's comedic relief. And honestly, became my favorite character. Chill, Stink. He looks like a baseball coach protesting a bad call. How can you not crack up laughing at his Macaulay Culkin impression?
Shut up, Stink!
Along with Stink, we meet Krista.
Krista.
Krista is a human woman who's grown up in this world and adapted to the hazards of it.
Dad, who is she?
Oh my gosh, she's beautiful.
She also is a protector of the Porter family, doing things like scaring off predators.
What the heck? Oh!
And did I mention that Kevin is in love with her? Though a 23-year-old woman dating a 14-year-old might be a little frowned upon back in the real world.
That's the problem. Everybody thinks I'm just a kid. Especially Krista.
Krista, like Stink, also speaks in broken English.
Krista teach Annie about jungle.
So then you ask yourself, who taught Stink and Krista English?
How do you know English?
Sometimes have dreams. I see things.
So the show starts showing Krista having visions of people speaking English to her.
I think that you came here the same way that we did.
In a later episode of the show, Krista reveals that her family also came with her when she was a very little girl.
My family leave long ago. Never come back.
When they tried to escape, it was in a big storm.
Big waves.
And during that big storm, she was knocked from the boat.
I scream and I scream, but boat sail away.
So her parents were able to reach the portal, but Krista was left behind.
I find big tree floating. I hold on all night. And I come back to beach.
And the idea of being left behind was such a painful concept that Krista had the memory repressed.
Its name is Princess too.
It is?
That was until she felt comfortable enough around Tom Porter to drudge up this memory.
Krista learned to remember love from past. You teach me that.
And I'm glad that this weird fish gill man person revealed himself to be a friend. I thought for sure this guy was going to be a villain, because a lot of the times he was stalking and breathing heavily, like some sort of fish creeper. But no, he was just a friend of the family. He even has a picture of Krista as a child.
Carista's family, my friends.
So the Porter family and their crew, they let this guy in. And this allows for a Three Stooges type dynamic between him, Stink, and Tasha.
Full time!
Help!
Speaking of things that remind me of the Three Stooges, we have our main bad guys. They're called Sleestaks.
That looks like a Sleestak.
And they are led by their leader, Shung.
Hello, human. I've been expecting you.
Shung is like the Mo to the other two's Larry and Curly.
I found it.
Enough!
These guys were banished to the island as prisoners, left to die.
As you see, we're still very much alive.
And the Sleestaks do not get along.
What's a chariot?
Stupid!
They don't even like each other.
I'm gonna get you, Teak!
They're constantly insulting each other.
And I have death too, you stupid fly lickers. All the stupid toad suckers that lived in the underworld, I ended up with the two dumbest of all.
A toad sucker? I don't even want to know what that is. I also don't want to know anything about these #MeToo harassment shoulder massages. Their only goal is to get power in food.
He says bring him meat, and we bring him a magic book. Then we bring him meat, and he says it's rotten. I hate y'all.
But they stink at doing that. Sometimes they'll capture Tasha.
You can't eat Tasha.
And instead of eating Tasha, they'll just talk?
Not so fast, humans. You will teach me about the machine. About other things I have never seen. Things that will prove useful to me.
So they are following the classic 80s villain rule of never actually succeeding, even when you easily could. But we find out Sleestaks can be intimidating.
You work, you eat. You don't work. We eat.
They are the ones who killed Stink's parents.
Long ago, they catch many Bukuni. Stink's mama, papa. Make work too hard. Bukuni gets sick and die.
Sleestaks, maru. Okay.
Sleestaks very dangerous.
Speaking of Stink's family, we do get to meet the grandfather of Stink, who at first I thought was some sort of Bigfoot. But then I looked at some more and thought, now that's more Chewbacca-esque.
It's an old popular.
Yeah, old with an attitude, stay back.
So Stink's Chewbacca look-alike grandfather is racist to humans.
Come on, Stink.
Opa say Kevin Porter teach Stink be bad Paku.
But if Kevin was like his only exposure to humans, I would totally understand why he's prejudiced towards them. But eventually learns to accept humans. He even brings them booze.
Osu, yeah, firewater, where?
Osu.
Which Tom Porter is a little too excited to receive.
Whoa, smell that resin. The truck will run great on this.
Oh, it's for the car. Sure.
Teach Opa.
He says goodbye to Stink and heads back off into the woods.
Opa.
To die.
Why does this seem like goodbye forever? Now that we're friends, aren't we gonna see him again?
I don't think so, Kevin. Hope is getting old. I think this was probably his last journey.
Yeah, it got randomly heavy in this episode all of a sudden. Let's go back to the stupid Sleestaks. Sleestaks are always trying to conquer and take over and get the power and eat the Porter family. But they're all talk, no action. What's their main directive?
It's the humans. This time we kill them.
Kill them?
Now they will die.
That's a little intense for a kid's show. With that kind of constant threat around, you wonder how the Porters react to all this danger. Well, Dad Tom thinks killing someone is beneath them.
I know Shung acts like an animal. It'd be easy for us to do the same, then we'd be just like him. But without our humanity, what's left?
Kevin? Kevin has the philosophy of mow them all down.
Go ahead, Sleestaks. Make my day.
But then Kevin has a change of heart and gets all gun safety PSA on us.
The real power is up here.
Sleestaks are able to get their power through crystals. These crystals allow them to do things like mind control. Or move heavy objects with their mind.
You will never get out alive!
Except they don't seem to even have that power mastered, as it causes their own self-destruction. But Sleestaks aren't the only hazards that the Porter family faces. In one episode, the dad is bit by a poisonous lizard. It's a good thing that Krista's around to be able to find the antidote needed to save him.
I am very grateful to you for saving my life.
Is she rolling her eyes? What, does she not like to get compliments?
Sit tight. Land of the Lost. We'll be right back on Nick.
And remember in the theme song when they talked about the triple moon? Well, in one episode, the triple moon causes both Stink and Tasha to become possessed. It actually causes all the dinosaurs and animals to become possessed. And their goal is to commit ritualistic suicide and jump off a cliff.
Why do the dinosaurs want to jump off the cliff?
Why do the dinosaurs want to jump off the cliff?
Maybe that valley was.
Well, I think somebody said it was to get to the other side.
Dinosaurs' ancestors came from.
And it's a good thing it only takes a car horn to snap them out of that trance before, well, you know. So what else is a hazard to them? Well, you have a volcano, pterodactyls, hurricanes, an earthquake, a combo hurricane-earthquake, a heat wave, lake monsters, beach monsters, termites.
Oh, we have termites.
What's your problem?
Amnesia.
Who are you?
Amnesia that makes you think you're Michael Jordan.
I just remembered who I am. Yeah? Who? Michael Jordan.
Oh. Well, nice to meet you, Michael.
Staring contests. And of course, crippling depression.
There are times when this place gets me so down I just don't think I can go on, that I just want to give it all up.
Seriously?
Seriously.
The actual reality of this world is a little depressing when you think about it. Who is Annie supposed to fall in love with?
I need someone I can talk to about different stuff. Like boys. Kind of like my brother. But please, not my brother.
And what about Kevin if Krista was to reject him?
Whatever she speaks, it's definitely my language.
And what about our widower dad, Tom? Poor dad just wants to find himself a girl like a Madonna.
Madonna? Make that Madonna with a cold.
Or Michelle Pfeiffer.
Michelle Pfeiffer?
You wish.
I sure do.
Because I feel like lines have started getting crossed with the lack of outside people being around.
Congratulations, Dad.
No way. I'm too young to be a dad.
And I'm your mom.
Annie, that would make you an aunt to Tasha if Kevin's the father. Unless... Ugh.
Dad, check this out. Tasha looks hotter than Annie in Annie's makeup.
Kevin, don't call your sister hot. Yeah, they need other people around because now even the dinosaur and the monkey are being sexualized. In Kevin's case, he does have a potential option in Krista.
Krista!
Someone that he dreams about.
I was having this incredible dream about Krista.
Great! I get to listen to my son have nocturnal omissions. Let's peek into Kevin's dream. The dinosaur's like, yeah, I don't need to be here for this.
I'm mad about you, Kevin Porter. Mad.
Kevin's nocturnal omissions are interrupted by Tasha. They even toy around with the idea of Kristen not just being a love interest for Kevin, but maybe Tom as well.
Krista. In fact, I've been thinking about her a lot.
You know the feeling, Dad Meister? I was just kidding. Give me a break.
But no, Tom's still grieving over his dead wife. In one episode, his grieving over his dead wife is exploited.
The children and I have been waiting for you, Tom.
But it turns out it was just a cursed woman who stole the identity of his ex-wife.
Take Spell away.
No! They're my family now!
Tom takes pity on this woman because, well, she was lonely.
I feel so bad for that lady. She seems so sad and lonely.
Yeah, she did.
He can understand how someone could be driven to do such a thing. He doesn't pity her enough to invite her to join the group. Nah, she can stay lonely. He's just gonna understand why she's lonely. Which to me is a little weird because a couple episodes before was when we got introduced to Fish Gillman guy, and he's able to join the crew. So this lady, no? But really, the dad did need some sort of a love interest. He was getting desperate. Seductively dancing with the broom is not going to cut it.
Anyone ever tell you, you have great hair?
He needs an outsider's touch because I don't like how he reacted to his son tickling him like a dog. There is a sorceress that he does seem to have a little bit of romantic interest in, But she doesn't stick around long either.
I must go.
You know, I wonder how Annie felt about this magician and her dad's budding relationship.
Maybe you have a jungle fever or something.
Like an episode of Gilligan's Island, people pop up for an episode and then disappear at the end.
When I put that spell on Marcus, I was very angry. And he turned out differently than I expected.
Where did you come from?
California, San Francisco Island.
San Francisco's not an island.
It is now, ever since the quake of '47.
My favorite episode has Kevin finally getting the nerve to ask Krista out on an actual date. On his way to ask Krista out, he runs into Stink. Stink is drunk on fruit.
What's with the dino breath?
What dino breath?
It smells like booze.
Oh.
Dude, you're hammered.
And since Kevin's so nervous to ask Krista out, he needs some of that fruit to calm his nerves.
Very, very special fruit. Cheers!
Cheers! You know what I'm gonna do, Stinkmeister?
Eat more special fruit.
I'm gonna ask Krista out on a date.
These fruits relax Kevin enough to be able to successfully ask Krista out.
Chris, I gotta ask you a question.
When he arrives home, his family doesn't even believe that Krista said yes to a date.
I have a date with Krista.
You have a date with Krista?
You have a date with Krista?
Because they know that Kevin is a loser. For his date with Krista, Tom allows Kevin to use the family's vehicle. On his way to Krista's, Kevin is still hammered, and that causes him to get himself into a drunk driving accident. And that knocks him completely unconscious, making him miss his date with Krista.
He's an hour late.
Maybe Kevin Porter changed his mind.
And also, I don't know, maybe he had a concussion or minor brain damage.
Kevin Porter, don't decoy.
But those things don't get brought up. Feeling embarrassed, he goes back home where he tells his parents that he got himself into an accident.
Big guy comes out in front of me and I swerved right into a major mud hole. And it took hours to get it out.
And that's why he missed his date with Krista.
Lucky Stink came along. Right, Stink?
Yeah.
But Stink knows better. Stink knows that Kevin was drunk.
Stink no like my fibs. Malu.
But it makes me wonder, if Stink is so morally just right now, why the next day does he allow himself and Kevin and Tasha to go back out in the woods and get drunk again? Tasha gets herself a little too drunk.
Special fruit? Tasha?
Tom and Annie discover the drunk fruit as well and realize Kevin's been into it. Kevin eventually comes clean and admits that he has a problem, and that's what caused the accident.
I got hammered off of this fermented fruit.
Hammered?
Yeah, you know, drunk.
That reason you not show up last night.
Tom, Annie, and Krista all tell Kevin they don't like him like this.
I thought that dumb fruit was solving my problems, but all it did was make bigger ones.
See, it became a PSA.
I could have killed myself. I really donked it. Lucky I had my seatbelt on.
Sit tight. Land of the Lost. We'll be right back on Nick.
So in this Lost World, you see what I did there? Because like Steven Spielberg's Jurassic Park Lost World, this also has a dinosaur chase happen in the city. But this city is an illusion in the mind of the Porter family. But Scarface the T-Rex, he's not an illusion. Yeah, the dinosaur is actually named Scarface. I'm just hoping this dinosaur doesn't have the same coke problem as his namesake. The Porter family seems to be doing a pretty good job on getting by with the supplies that they brought with them for their trip. because they haven't seemed to run out of electricity or batteries until much later in the season.
Kevin's video camera has run out of juice, and he's really bummed.
Which is a good thing, because I gotta imagine Kevin is burning through batteries pretty fast with his hobby of video camcording all his new
Hello,
surroundings.
action fans. This is Kevin Porter coming to you live from somewhere on the edge of danger.
So if they ever make it back to San Francisco, Kevin's gonna win any kind of film contest he enters with this footage.
He was counting on his tapes, making him a big Hollywood producer when we get back to the real world.
How's he offloading all the footage that he shoots? Is he real-time editing everything? Or is he reusing the same tape over and over again? How many tapes did he bring with him for what he thought was just a regular vacation trip?
Oh yeah, I'm getting some great stuff here. There we go. Come on, big guy.
Everybody knows that every time you re-record over the same tape, you're degrading the footage.
How many times have I told you not to mess with my stuff? Huh?
So how bad is the film quality at this point? And then you have to wonder about the vehicle that they came here with.
Kev, this truck's our ticket home. And when the time comes, we don't want to be stuck out of gas. Come on.
The nice thing is, though, the show decided, all right, we're going to answer those two questions. In one episode, Tom finds a river that's basically gasoline.
Oil! We struck oil!
According to the back of the Bendhams, they're actually able to save fuel by having carts dragged by Tasha's baby elephant-like strength. In another episode, we find out that power crystals have infinite amount of energy that can come from them.
The old Sleestaks civilization probably had crystals like this planted all over the place to power their cities or whatever.
Ooh, cool TV, funny hoo-ha.
More cool TV.
And how much music did Kevin bring with him for this trip? So far I've gathered it's a Bobby Brown CD.
Tosh, you think I'll be an old worrywart when I become a parent?
A James Brown CD. What appears to be some sort of 80s hair metal.
Kevin?
Some sort of CNC Music Factory knockoff.
Guys?
And a cover of You're Driving Me Crazy. Because we all know that prehistoric monkeys love songs composed in the 1930s. Though with all the music that Kevin packed, you never get to hear them bump Stink's favorite song, Wild Thing, and the modern day classic, One Night in Bangkok. So not only do they pick up a radio signal, but they also seem to manage to get a cable signal. So Land of the Lost would probably get pretty boring if it was just Sleestaks, the Porters, and their friends. So now we have to have people finding a way also onto this world. In one episode, a teleported knight shows up. When the knight arrives, he becomes infatuated with Krista.
Come on, Krista. I hope they didn't do you any harm, my lady.
You know, I kind of think this knight might own a fedora.
I fear for my lady's safety, and I will not rest until I find her.
Kevin's not down with the fact that this knight has a crush on Krista, and questions, is he even a real knight?
Well, more precisely a dragon slayer, my lord. Yeah, right. Give me a break.
Yeah, that's right. In this world with dinosaurs and talking monkeys, Kevin finds this idea to be preposterous.
And the very ground shook mightily beneath my feet. A strange fog overtook me.
Tom wants to stop any kind of fighting and says, no, son, this is definitely a real knight.
There's a real good chance he's exactly what he says he is.
But he's actually not. He was just an apprentice for a knight.
You see, it is my master who is the true knight. And a fine knight he is.
When really, Kevin acts more like a knight. A real Jordan Knight. Because he looks like Jordan Knight from New Kids on the Block. We'll also meet a spellcaster, A cyborg that has predator vision. And those crystals? They're actually able to communicate with humans. And all the power you'd want over others. Sure, they cause you to become a little power hungry, but they're also the things that provide energy for the Porter family.
You got it!
But hey, whatever it takes to take out a Sleestak. But sometimes having the power is just a little too hot to handle, and a little too cold to hold. You think with this much power, you'd properly destroy it, instead of allowing it to get back in the hands of your enemy.
Cool.
Then there's this river made up of Nickelodeon slime, and a Cyclops dragon that's actually a cursed human.
Where is she?
Where's who? Who said that? Who?
He wants to find the sorceress. I want him to find a shirt.
Never give up, do you, Margus?
She comes back to fight this guy off, and she's straight Hadouken! So let's go back to the first cyborg I mentioned. You know, the one with the predator vision, using it to hunt down his prey. That thing is so powerful that it almost kills Scarface. Also, it has time to almost kill Tom Porter. But Tom Porter doesn't have time to bleed.
I ain't got time to bleed.
Well, how do we fight something so powerful?
Man, call Sigourney Weaver.
There doesn't seem to be any way to stop this cyborg.
Isn't a cyborg like some sort of a robot man?
In a way. This one's an alien.
That is until Annie notices that a light glare could blind the Cyclops. The Cyclops is blinded to the point where he accidentally backs off a cliff and dies. Well, he didn't die, because if he died, then you'd be ruining the sales of people buying the action figure.
And now, back to Land of the Lost, only on Nickelodeon.
With all these wacky hijinks happening, you forget that the main goal of the Porter family is to find a portal and get back home.
See, I'm convinced that there's a place out there, canyon, tunnel, whatever, that's going to take us back to our own world. We're going to find it, right?
Right. Kristen say before, no such place.
The Porter family needs all the help that they can get to find this portal, and they ask Krista if she'd be willing to help. Krista is hesitant at first.
But we need your help. Krista, we come from another world, but we want to get back.
But eventually warms up to the idea.
We understand that, Krista. But what about your real home? Your family, your relatives, your heritage, it's all back there where we came from, not here.
As the series progresses, the Porter family finds it harder to separate from their newfound friends, and decides they're coming with us.
I don't know how yet, but you guys are coming home with us.
Now Krista, I understand. She also was originally from Earth. And Tom eventually caves into the idea that Stink and Tasha have to come as well. Stink? In the real world? Wonder what that would be like. Kevin accurately points out that by bringing Tasha back into the real world, you'd have a real E.T. situation on your hand.
Remember what happened to E.T.?
E.T.?
Though, I could probably think of a different Steven Spielberg movie you'd have on your hands. So whenever an intense storm happens, the family gets crazy excited, knowing that a portal will probably open up.
Well, it must have opened a gateway between the two worlds. That's the only way the transmissions could get through. Well, let's move it, guys. This could be a shot at going home.
Do they ever catch it?
Oh, come on. Come on, just another minute.
Oh my gosh!
No.
No. It's starting to fade.
It's gone.
Sometimes they actually arrive at the portal, but somebody's been left behind and they don't want to leave without them. Or other times, bad luck will strike.
Come on!
Or they just return to the wrong time period altogether.
I can return to England. Come with me, Kevin. I can't. My family's a mile away from here. There's not enough time.
Land of the Lost to me is one of those shows that you could watch every episode of and then forget every detail of. Unless you're the guy who made the Wikipedia article for this show. That's crazy detailed, bro. Even though it aired on ABC Saturday mornings, it felt more like an ABC TGIF show.
On TGIF.
The way it was structured and the way the characters interacted. And honestly, at the end of it, I started developing a real affection for this show. It's kind of a drag not knowing if they ever found their way back home, or if they were all just eaten by Scarface in the middle of the night. Hey, it's Joe from VKM TV Studios. If you like this, there's a lot of content, some about TV, some about music videos, some are just general discussions, others are mashups, and other things. So yeah, like, click, and subscribe, and leave a comment. And if it's nice, I will answer it.
Find out how you can win 100 TVs. But first, we have a girl.